I just wanted to tell you about a story that I heard and that was reminded to me today. I was doing some shopping in Sainsbury's. It's not an advert, it's just where I was shopping. And I went towards the checkout, and I always seek out those checkouts where people look either miserable, because I can help and cheer people up a little bit, or people who are totally happy. And there was this chap, and he looked very smiley, very happy. So I went up to his counter and put my shopping on the conveyor. And I got chatting to him and said, "Hi, how are you today?" And he said, "Oh, I'm okay. I've just found out I've got type 2 diabetes." And he had this big smile on his face. Anyway, we had the chat for a while, but I left the store thinking, my goodness, why the big smile on his face? But then I remembered, and it was 20 years ago that I was diagnosed, and I could put myself back in the shoes I was wearing then, and it was a great sense of relief when I got my diagnosis. I now kind of understood why I was feeling so tired, why I was weeing such a lot, why I was getting up 2 or 3 times in the night, and why I just didn't feel as resilient as I seemed to the previous year. So I could understand that smile that David had on his face, because it is somewhat comforting to know what's wrong with you, that it has a name. But I remember when I found out, and the doctor offered me my first medication, my metformin, which is normally what most people start on. I was just so relieved to get the diagnosis, to get a diagnosis, that I didn't ask those really critical questions, which I would ask now. And if I could bless myself from 20 odd years ago with the wisdom that I've got now, I would ask questions about what can I do about this? And I think I did. But immediately, the first thing the doctor did was he said, "Oh, don't worry, Mr. Leggett. There are lots of treatment protocols that we have for you, and we'll start you off with one called metformin." And I didn't challenge that. I didn't ask any more questions. I just took the prescription. "Thank you very much, doctor," and I left, and I didn't look into it any further than that. So I started on the metformin, and that became a continuous cycle for me, that I'd start on this medication. I'd found I didn't tolerate it, and that's what the clinicians talk about. They talk about can you tolerate this? Can you tolerate that? Because they all have different side effects, and you swap one for another, and you're just swapping one side effect for another. So when I'm thinking back to David's story now, and if any of you are in a position like David was, that he'd just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I want you to understand that there is another way that you can reverse type 2 diabetes. And that's how my character, my persona, if you like, the diabetes destroyer, came to be, because I followed another way after 20 years of getting really quite good at this type 2 diabetes thing, and I reversed it. No longer taking insulin, no longer taking any medication, just controlling by diet alone. And I'd really urge you to consider that as an option too. If you are considering it, and you've got to the stage where you're saying to yourself, I really want to do something now, then there are a couple of things I want to say are options for you. if like the graphic says, if you're feeling fed up with being tired, then realize there is another way. And I am offering a free consultation where you can sit down with me online, and we can discuss how my reversal program works and how it can work for you. And we can see if that's an appropriate thing for you to do. So all you need to do is scan the QR code you can see in front of you now. That will give you a link to my my application, my calendar booking application. You can book in a slot there. It's a free, no obligation call, as it says on the screen. It's for half an hour. I can learn a little about your story, and I can tell you about the programs I have on offer. It's another way. It's a way to avoid the side effects of medication. And it's a way back to restore your health. So you can do that, or if you want to dip a toe in rather than your whole foot, then please, if you're not joining me on Facebook and you're not part of the T2D reversal group, you see the name on the bottom of the screen, then join me on that Facebook group to learn a little more about your type 2 diabetes and what you can do about it. So scan the QR code, set up a call with me, or join the T2D reversal group, because I want you to feel the best you possibly can. And I believe the way to do that is to reverse your type 2 diabetes. So have a really great evening, or morning, or afternoon, depending on when you're seeing this. And I'll either catch up with you on the T2D reversal channel or via the one-to-one call that you're going to book. And by the way, there's already a growing amount of resource on the T2D reversal group, the Facebook group. I've done a couple of days of a challenge, and there was the live last night as well. So it's really worth getting onto the group and seeing what's there. If you don't like it, but I won't be offended if you want to leave. But try it. You might find that there's a different way, another way to be free. So thank you very much for listening. As I say, enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of the evening, whenever you're watching this, and perhaps I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.